I knew the night was going to be strange the moment the security guard didn't even bother asking my name. His eyes traveled over me the way people scan lost luggage, briefly, without curiosity, already deciding where I belonged. Faded jeans, an old college sweatshirt, sneakers that had seen better days. When I told him I was there for the Wong-Ashford engagement party, he laughed under his breath and pointed toward the service entrance like it was obvious. Like I should have known better. And maybe I should have. But I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I just nodded and walked exactly where he sent me. Because sometimes silence gives you more information than any confrontation ever could. My name is Kinsley Wong. I'm 32 years old. And yes, at that moment, I looked exactly like someone who didn't belong inside a luxury hotel on one of the biggest nights of the year. That was intentional. 2 weeks earlier, my sister Madison had called me with the kind of forced cheer people use when they're already embarrassed by you. She reminded me, repeatedly, that her future in-laws were old money and very particular, and maybe, just maybe, I should try to look presentable. She suggested I not mention my online business thing because people like them didn't really understand internet work. I didn't correct her. I never do. Madison has always been more comfortable filling in blanks than asking questions. So I showed up exactly as expected. Unremarkable. Forgettable. Easy to dismiss. The kitchen behind that service door was chaos in its purest form. Heat. Noise. Orders flying like shrapnel. Someone shoved an apron into my hands without asking, and before I could speak, I was peeling shrimp next to people who'd been working double shifts for weeks because my sister couldn't decide what kind of napkins felt appropriate. No one asked who I was. No one cared. And honestly, that told me everything. The staff talked freely about Madison sending dishes back untouched, about her snapping at servers like they were malfunctioning machines, about her future mother-in-law inspecting the ballroom like she was shopping for flaws, about how money doesn't always come with class. Sometimes it just comes with louder expectations. Madison stormed into the kitchen at one point, perfume trailing behind her like entitlement. She complained about champagne temperature, about lighting, about nothing that actually mattered. She passed right by me, close enough that I could recognize the perfume she once borrowed from my apartment and never returned, and didn't even glance my way. To her, I wasn't her sister. I was invisible labor, and that hurt more than I expected. What Madison didn't know, what none of them knew, was that 3 years earlier, I had quietly purchased the Grand Meridian hotel chain. All 17 properties. I knew every hallway, every camera, every emergency protocol. I built it from a single struggling location and sleepless nights, filled with spreadsheets and doubt. I learned the business from the ground up because I didn't want power that didn't understand effort. And that night, I stood in my own building, wearing an apron, watching people reveal exactly how they treated others when they thought it didn't matter. At some point, curiosity pulled me upstairs, not to the ballroom, but to the executive floor. My floor. I unlocked my office with my fingerprint, changed nothing about my appearance, and watched the security monitors. That's when things started making sense. Madison was bending herself into shapes to impress people who barely acknowledged her existence. Mrs. Ashford smiled through tightened skin, name-dropping relatives no one alive remembered. Mr. Ashford avoided eye contact like someone who knew he was losing ground. And the son, Brett, looked like a man already regretting decisions he hadn't admitted to yet. Then I saw it. Mrs. Ashford slipping cash to a staff member. Instructions whispered, gestures toward the sound system, sabotage, dressed as sophistication. I didn't react, I just documented, because when people think they're untouchable, they get sloppy. Back downstairs, I moved through the ballroom with a tray in my hands. Invisible again. Rich people have a special talent for taking things from you without seeing you. Glasses lifted. Thank yous mumbled into the air. Mrs. Ashford complained loudly about good help being so hard to find while never once meeting my eyes. The irony could have been funny if it wasn't so predictable. Madison made a speech later, thanked everyone, talked about joining two great families. And then, the part that made my chest tighten, she mentioned her very successful investor sister, who was there quietly observing and would be making an announcement later. I almost laughed. Almost. She had sent me to the service entrance, but still wanted to borrow my imaginary success when it suited her. That's when the truth landed quietly. Not like a slap, but like a realization you can't undo. Madison didn't want me invisible. She wanted me invisible until useful. The Ashfords, meanwhile, weren't what they claimed to be. A few calls confirmed it. Debt stacked on debt. Assets sold quietly. A family clinging to reputation while hoping someone else would save them. Suddenly, the snobbery made sense. It wasn't superiority. It was fear. When the check for the party bounced, my general manager found me with his eyes. Not panic. Trust. I told him to wait. 20 minutes. Let the evening finish revealing itself. Mrs. Ashford's sabotage failed quietly. Security intercepted the USB. Footage was backed up. Evidence saved. No scene. No drama, just control returning to the building like oxygen. When Madison cornered me later, confusion finally cracking her confidence, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't humiliate her. I just told her the truth. Calmly, privately, with facts she couldn't argue. And for the first time in my life, she didn't talk over me. That night didn't end with applause or gasps or revenge speeches. It ended with something far more powerful. Understanding. I walked out knowing exactly who my sister was, who her future family was, and who I had become. Here's what I learned, and what I hope you hear if you're listening. People don't show you their character when they think you're important. They show it when they think you're irrelevant. And if someone only respects you after learning your value, they never respected you at all. That night, I didn't prove anything. I didn't need to. I just stood where I was and let the truth do the work.